Okay, folks, welcome back to mographplus.com. Let's go ahead and actually attach the letters and create some materials. The first thing I want to do is to create 3 materials. So let's go ahead and create a new material. I'm just going to change this preview to sphere GI, and then I'm going to its color. I'm going to 223. There we go. We'll go to our reflection. I'm going to delete the specular and add a simple backman here. I'm going to my texture, add a simple Fresnel here, and I'm going to reduce this volume maybe to something like this, and the strength to something like 25 maybe would be enough. Okay, that's what I want. I'm just going to create create 2 duplicates. This is gonna be, the color is gonna be black, and I'm gonna be using something like 50, not quite black there. There we go. And the third one is gonna be this color, 222, 60, and 92, and that's what we want. And I'm going to create 2 sets of this material, and I'm gonna show you why 2 sets and what we need to do. So I'm going to select all of these guys and control drag. Okay, now we have 2 set of these materials, as you can see, and let's just rename them. Maybe add a 2 here, or you can go ahead and name them more appropriately based on the color that you are using, but I'm just going to set this way. Okay, perfect. Now let's go ahead and start applying the adding the letters and applying the materials. I'm going to my MoGraph and add a MoText. I'm going to solo out this MoText, and let's get out of the camera basically and see where we are here. Here's our text. I'm gonna go to here. This is gonna be our M, so I'm gonna be typing M. Let's go to our object, type in M, and I'm going to change the font to Typograph Pro or whatever font you like to use. I'm going to just use the Typograph Pro and extra bold, and I'm going to change the alignment to be middle, and let's go to something like 50 maybe, and I'm going to my caps, make sure feel like caps. Okay, let's go ahead and change the fillet type to 2 steps, and I mean something like this would be definitely enough. Okay, maybe 5 centimeters is a bit too much, but that's, I think it's gonna be enough, and we can change the step, but doesn't matter that much because we're using this 2-step mode there. Okay, that's our M, and I'm going to maybe to something like 140 would be enough for its height. And now that we have it, let's go ahead and start attaching this guy to our desired cubes. Let's unsolo, and if I get back to my camera and start taking a look, so I'm going to be using just 3 cubes. In the original design, I have had 6 letters distributed on these 5 cubes, 1, 2, 3, another one on this side of this cube, and another letter for this final cube. But just to make stuff a bit faster, I'm just going to be using 3 letters, and you can go ahead and add as much letter as you want, but in this case we're just going to stay with 3 because actually we're not going to be rendering this project. I have a render that I've done it before, and it is complete with all the multipass and everything, and we're going to be using that render to doing our compositing inside After Effects, and I'll be providing those renders to you too. But generally speaking, as I said, we're going to be using just 3 letters and just make stuff a bit faster, because as you see, it's going to take some time to actually prepare the scene to be rendered. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So these 3 cubes are our main cubes. Okay, and we're going to be applying these 3 the materials and attach 1 letter to each one of them. So let's go ahead. This for these guys, we're going to be applying the second set of materials, and I'm going to be walking you through why I do that, because you see what we need to change after we apply the materials. So let me go ahead and select these 3 letters. select this, just let's go ahead and replace here. It's going to be 15, 12, sorry, 12, hold on, control, and also 9. So these are these 3 materials, the 3 cubes that we want to kind of move them. Perfect. I'm going to right click on this material and hit apply. And as you can see now, we have this material being applied to. Let's go ahead and attach our letter M to our first cube, which is cube number 15 here. Okay, so I'm going to, let's put this thing down here, our attributes manager. I'm going to drag this M under 15. Okay, and then I'm going to select my M, go to its coordinates and zero out X, Y, and Z values, and also all the rotation values. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and drag it. And for this M, we're going to be applying this white material. So let's go ahead and apply the second white material, even though just the black material is important, but just to stay a bit organized, I decided to create another set of material for the letters too. So let me just get out of this camera and get back to here. And kinda, I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees on this angle and rotate it 90 degrees this way. And let's go ahead, select our move tool and see. Okay, let's pull it back a bit, maybe something like this. Okay. Okay, I think it's enough. And if I get back to my camera, you can see now this M is actually, as you can see, coming here. You can see the M down here. And there we go. And okay, here's finally our M. Okay, let's go ahead and do the same thing for the cube number 12. I'm going to select my M, control and drag it. Okay. And I'm going to put it under cube number 12. And we're going to rename it to G. And let's go ahead to its object, and instead of M, we're going to type G. Okay. And here is our G. And I can kind of zoom in a bit more and see. We can make it a bit bigger, but because of the structure of our M, we need to kind of keep that consistency. If we can increase the G size, it would be kind of not in quite harmony with our M. So that's why, even though the G could be bigger, I'm going to stay with this size. I'm just going to kind of move it a bit. Okay, something like this, it's enough. And this is our G, and we can actually add a 2 suffix here. Okay, 02, and for this G 02, so these are going to be our set 2 that the materials of set 2 has been applied to. And as I said, it might seem a bit confusing, but in a moment we get to that, and we show you why we're using another version, and we naming them this way. So this is this, and let's go ahead, and this is cube number, let me have my notes here, cube number 9, which is this one. Let's go ahead and control and drag, and here is our plus. Okay, so let's go ahead, type plus, and let's go ahead, change the text, just type in plus there, and hit enter, and let's go ahead and move this thing about here. Let's see, I'm just going to make this thing a bit bigger, so let's go ahead and change this height. Let's go to something like 200 and see if it's enough, or we can still make it bigger, maybe 220, 250, something like this. I think it's gonna be enough. It's bigger, but it's a better and nicer typography to have the plus a bit bigger, because it's not a letter, it's a simple sign here. Okay, there we go. And now let's go and rename this to plus version 2. Okay, now if I get back to the camera and walk you through, now if I come down and hit play, that's what we're gonna get. You see the M and G and plus. Okay. Okay, so I'm sure you spotted the problem, and the problem here is because we didn't add that much of those Rubik's Cubes motions, the M, G, and plus kind of stay together for a long time, and they barely separate, and this is really not what we want. We want to distribute these M, G, and plus in different parts so they seem separated, and finally when we get to this final motion, boom, here we want to stay together. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using a bit of trick here, and it's going to be really kind of easy. You just have to get your facts right before getting into it. But what we want to do here is to get the M, G, and the plus, and not all of them, because the G has some nice motion, as you see, and I would love to actually have this G exactly here. But for the M and the plus, what we can do is to go ahead and make them the M, the plus, and the black material that has been applied to the cubes that the letters are attached to. We can go ahead and animate them. So from about here, when we actually don't see them, about frame 314, 17, 16 here, we can go ahead and make their material to change from black, white to black, the material of the cubes, and also we can make these two letters appear. Okay, and then what we can do, instead of using the cube number 15 for the M and cube number 9 for the plus, we can go ahead and use some other cubes and attach the M and the plus to those other cubes, and we can you know, look at them. They are looking nice, they are separate nicely, and we can make them disappear in our final motion. So we are going to have just the M and G and the plus that has been applied to our cube 9, 12, and 15, and this way we are gonna get a bit nicer. I mean, maybe it just seems a bit confusing, but when I actually do it, you're gonna understand it much more easily. So let's go ahead and solve this problem that we have, and that's the letters are staying together. So the first thing I'm going to do is to make sure that the M and the plus are gonna start appearing at about here, frame 3, 16, and 17. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to apply display tag to here, cinema 4D tag, display tag, and I'm going to enable the visibility. Okay, we don't need to see them before frame 317, and here is where we want to see these guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to frame 316, enable the visibility, and let's zero out this value and set a keyframe. And I'm going to frame 370, change this value to 100, and set another keyframe. Okay, so the M, you can see there is basically no M here. There we go. You can see the M has disappeared, and here we have our M back. And if I go and take a look at it from another angle, you can see basically it frame 307, the M appears. You see that? There we go. It's not there, but here you see, take a look at here, and it appears. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing for our plus. So it's gonna be simple copy paste. So let's go ahead and control drag this to our plus, and now as you can see, our plus is not there. Take a look, see, and it appears. There we go. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. Instead of beside this, another thing we need to do is actually to animate the material. So where they start to appear, we want the material to before that we want the material to be white, and from here we want the material to be black for our final motion. Okay, perfect. And actually this plus, we're going to be adding this red material. So let's go ahead and apply this material. There we go. And let's go ahead and do that for the materials. So it's going to be, again, a very simple. Let's go ahead and 318, the material that has been applied to the M and plus. Okay, we're going to animate that, And there is another thing. You can see the material for the letter G and the cube beside it is the same material that has been applied to the M and plus, okay? But we actually don't want to do that because the G is going to stay there forever. So let's go ahead and actually create two copy from this white and black material, and let's go ahead and just name them G white and G black, okay? And let's go ahead, and for the G we're going to be using these materials, and we're going to be animating this set of materials here. So let's go ahead and apply the this material and this material. Now when we actually animate these two materials, this one and this one, we are not going to be animating the material that has been applied to the letter G and its cube, because it's going to be staying there forever, you see, because it has some nice motion and I really don't want to lose that. So let's go ahead and animate this guy. So I'm going to go to frame 316. So let's go ahead 316. And what we want to change is the material that has been applied to the cubes that the M and the plus are attached to. I hope it's not getting confusing, I know, but really this is just you know, just a fraction of what you do on a daily basis when you are trying to create motion design. I mean, I tried to make the whole project to look as simple as possible. The original project, which was much more complex, and it was designed in a way that it could be easily dealt with later on if we wanted to change something, and if they wanted to change something, I mean the client. So it was a really perfect rig, but here I tried to make it as simple as possible, and even though it's still a little complex, but really that's our job. So let's go ahead and do that. So what we're going to be doing here, if I get back to the camera, it's to animate the color of these cubes that the M and the plus are attached to. The M and the plus are going to be appearing at about frame 317, and we're going to make sure that the material for the cubes, this cube and this cube that the M and the plus are attached to, are going to be white until frame 316, and in frame 317 it's gonna turn black to match with our design. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna get back to frame 316 here. I'm going to this material. I'm going to set a keyframe at frame, let's see, 317, because here we want it to be black. I'm going to frame 316, and I'm going to change the color to white. Okay, so there we go. So what's gonna happen now, we have basically animated this. If you take a look at our camera, just get out of the camera, see they are black, but if you get back, you see here these are the two cubes that we are talking about. You see they are white and they suddenly become black, and the M and the plus appears. Perfect. Okay, that's very cool and amazing. Let's go ahead and continue our design. And now what we want to do, guys, is to start adding other stuff, because at the moment before frame 317 we only have the G, and we're going to attach one M and one other plus to another two cubes. And the cubes that I think are gonna be best are gonna be cube number 11, which is, let's get out of this camera, the cube number 11 and cube number 16. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this and see what we are going to have. So let's see. If I get back to here and go to the camera, so here's the cube. This one is cube number 16. I'm going to attach the M to it. Okay, and let's go ahead and do that really quickly. I'm going to create a copy of this M, and I'm going to drag it here. I'm going to delete this display tag for the moment, and this is going to be our cube M01, because we have it first, and then we have our M02, and the material that's going to be applied is going to be different, and this is it. Let's go ahead and zero out its coordinates just quickly, and there we go. I'm going to drag it up. Perfect. Get out of the camera. And as you can see, our camera's motion here is so this way. I kind of want it to be, let's see, rotate it negative 90 degrees. And I'm going to pull it up. So there we go. Move it there. And let's see. So perfect. Now let's go ahead and apply the material from our first set, which is this white material. And we're going to apply material, the black material, to our this cube, which is cube number 16. Our first set, because we have animated this material, and this material is for only G, and we're going to be have to animate this material to later down the timeline. But for the moment, if I go to the camera, you can see this is what we have. Okay, nice. And let's go ahead and do the same thing for the plus, and the letter, the cube that is going to be perfect is going to be cube number 11 here. So if I get out of the camera, let's, if you can see it. Okay, this is the cube number 11 here. So let's go ahead. Perfect. Let's go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and add the plus to number 11. Let's go ahead and control drag. And this is going to be our plus version 1. And let's go ahead and apply the appropriate material from the first set, just to stay organized. And the 11 is going to have the black material from this first set too. Perfect. Okay. Now let's go ahead and go to the plus 0, 1. I'm going just to zero out its coordinates on X, Y, and Z, and also the rotational values. And I'm going to just move it down there. Let's see where it is. Let me actually go ahead and delete this display tag on it. There we go, so we can see it. I move the camera. Let me get back. And there we go. So, you know, even it would be nice not just to have something in here, you know, nothing attached. Look at that. It's going to be very actually nice. Boom. See, that's an idea if you want to pursue it. And yeah, it would be actually very, very cool. Look at that. Boom. But we're going to stay to our design here. So let's go ahead and just going to get out of my camera. And let's see, that's the plus here. So let me zoom in there. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And actually, let me just save this project here. Rotate it 90 degrees. And let's see. That wasn't 90, that was 100. Let me change it to 90 degrees. And okay, I think that's gonna be enough. Let's go ahead to our camera, and now we have this M and the plus and the G separated. See, M, we got the G, we got the M here. Okay, and here we got the MG plus. Now what we want to do, even though they're actually going to disappear by themselves, but see here we got this block here. And another thing that I'm actually going to do is to create a general material and add that white material to all of these guys. So let's go ahead and actually just duplicate maybe these guys that hasn't been animated yet. And I'm going to come up here and rename it to the main material, main white material. And we're going to be applying this guy to everything. So let's go ahead and apply to our master node number 1. Perfect. And if I go ahead and render it, okay, let's see. These guys obviously have some material applied to them. So let's go ahead and see what is the problem. Material number 18, this fracture have this deleted material. Let's go ahead and delete that. And also this guy, let me open it up. And also let's go ahead and delete all the deleted material here. There we go. And if I go ahead and render, there we go. Perfect. Now we haven't done anything, so it looks ugly definitely, but we're gonna make it much nicer. So let's see. Now what we want to do is to make the plus, the M, and their material to kind of disappear. We're going to disappear the M and the plus at about maybe here at about frame 320, and at the same time we're going to make their cubes that are attached to become or to turn white at the exact same frame. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So here's the M. Let's go there. The plus is the one that is, you know, lasts a bit longer. So let's go ahead and actually work on that first of all. So we need to have it there at about frame 321. We don't need it anymore. So let's go ahead and go to our cube number 11 here, and cube number 11. There we go. And let's go ahead and apply a display tag to this guy. Cinema 4D tag, display tag, enable the visibility, set a keyframe, go 1 frame forward, zero it out, and there we go. I'm going to apply this to our also M01, which is applied to cube number 16. So let's go ahead and control and drag it. And now what's going to happen is they're going to be, if I take a look at this view, as you can see, they are gonna disappear at frame 300, and there we go. You see that? Our plus has disappeared. Perfect. That's what we want. And let's go ahead and do the same thing for the material that has been applied to, and it's gonna be the this material, which is this one, and the material to the cube number 11. We're gonna be turning it to white. So let's go ahead and do that. We don't need to change this, just this black material need to turn white. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to frame 300, and there we go, about 320. So let's go ahead and 321, 320. Let's get set a keyframe, go 1 frame forward, and turn it to the same white that we had, 223, 223, and 223. Apply that, and if I get out of here, you see they turn white and they disappear. And if I get back to my main camera and take a look, it's gonna be perfect. So let me go ahead and save this project, gets back, and hits play. There we go. Perfect. Just select everything. Hit play. See M, G. We got this plus, and there we go. Very, very cool and nice. And if I hit play again, so that's cool. That is cool, and perfect, very nice, and there we go, exactly what we want, and it's very nice. I know it's kind of confusing, but just rewind and watch it again to understand why we did what we did. Just stay tuned with mographplus.com. See you there.